Hey guys, this is yours truly, Nomad Fury, and we're back once again for another episode of the Nomads podcast. And our special guest for today, guys, is the Chief Marketing Officer of Cloud City Meta. So please welcome to the show, Umer Mirza.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your channel, and I hope our conversation is going to be really engaging and people are going to enjoy that.
All right. And also, I would like to say hello to all of our subscribers and viewers who are tuning in to our podcast right now with Umer Mirza, the CMO of Cloud City Metaverse. So we will be learning more coming from him on what Cloud City Metaverse is all about, especially if you are into Web3 gaming, NFTs, and Metaverse. So you might want to check this out, guys. Okay. So before we begin, I would like to let you all know that we are not promoting any financial or investment advice. Okay. So this is just for your information. So let's learn together, guys. Now, Umer, are we all set?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so Umer, could you introduce us a bit on what Cloud City Metaverse is all about?
Sure. So, Cloud City Metaverse is one of a kind because it's very different. And the pain point we're addressing in the market is adoption into the gamify experiences. And Metaverse is specifically when it comes to Web3. There's a lot of platforms out there, but certainly there's one thing that they lack is they don't have AAA gaming experiences. And also the quality of the graphics and the storytelling is very poor compared to what we see in the Web2 AAA flagship games. So being a gaming studio, we decided that we want to solve this pain point that's in the market. And also this will encourage more audiences from the Web2 industry, especially the hardcore gamers, to adopt the Web3 technology as it's an evolving, emerging technology. It's essential for us to have more people jumping on this as soon as possible. So the Cloud City Metaverse is a gamified launcher. We have a designer's tool inside that will allow you to design and create infrastructure on your land NFT parcels. We have our own NFT marketplace, and then we also have our own custodial wallet that allows you to sign up with simple sign-ups like with your email addresses, with your socials, and it also creates a wallet address for you in the back end. And that way, it kind of helps all the people that are from Web2 to actually jump onto the platform. Then we have an open world that we call the communal area, also as TCCM in the short words. That is the open world metaverse experience that we have, where people have their brands, people would have their land NFT parcels. You could engage with people, play small games where you could have poker games, you could have movie nights, there's an event center inside. So there's ample space socializing that you could actually do in that space. And then we come to our main agenda where we want to have adoption coming into the gamify experiences. That's where we have our first game that's already built, and that's part of our pre-alpha. That is a Cloud Grand Prix. It's a racing game. It has a medieval futuristic kind of a theme to it, and it's a circuit-based racing, very similar to F1 and A1 circuits, while the cars look very futuristic and medieval in it. So that's where it becomes very interesting. And the game has different attributes. There's different cars that would have better acceleration, handling, modification, so it would allow users to kind of compete with each other on different tracks. Right now we have 3 tracks that we've already built, and we're going to be doing something really exciting really soon. So it's built on the Ethereum blockchain, so we could support and adopt all the layer ones, because that is something very important when everybody has to buy NFTs. I'm sure most users you have on your channel wouldn't be interested in paying large gas fees, because that's an adoption barrier that we have in the industry right now. So we want to adopt all the layer ones like Solana, Polygon, AVAX, Arbitrum, and building our own NFT marketplace and infrastructure on Ethereum allows us to do that. And then it's the gaming engine that we've used for this is Unreal Engine. It's one of the most high quality and immersive experience creating engine. So that's how we have designed the whole ecosystem for it. We're going to be launching a public version, the first beta version, very soon, somewhere in Q1 2024.
Wow. So that's a great introduction, on what Cloud City Metaverse is all about, especially for those of you who are into Web3 gaming, NFTs, and Metaverse. As I have checked in your website, Umer, I am freaking blown away, on about, the graphics and everything, the concept, especially that I am a hardcore gamer by heart. And you have mentioned about, the beta release, which will be coming soon. Hopefully I would be part of it when given the chance. Okay. And now, Umer, before you guys built this amazing project, let's try to stroll back in time, shall we? Who are you before? So, could you share how did you got started? You know, in the crypto and blockchain space. Who introduced you, and why did you pursue this?
So I came into this industry nearly a decade back. I was a university student at the time, and interestingly, I had some friends who hopped onto this technology very, very early. We were on a holiday in Langkawi in Malaysia on an island, and that's the first time I heard about Bitcoin. And those guys were mining it back home. They were from Saudi Arabia, so it was easier for them to mine this because electricity is very cheap there. And just as a reward, or just to increase adoption, those guys decided to gift me some Bitcoin at the time. And being somebody in the university, as most students are at the time, very careless and irresponsible, never really followed up on it. And by the time I graduated, I realized that I began to see on my Facebook news feed that Bitcoin is actually pumping, and it's gaining in value and momentum. And then we hit the first proper bull market in 2016, 2017. That's when I realized, oh my God, all this Bitcoin that I had has actually earned a lot of money now. And then there were two ways at the time, where one, I explore this technology, or the other where I sell it off and just take all the money as cash. But because I was young and I had already established myself as an entrepreneur, so I was not really looking for money, but it was more like that I want to explore the technology, because I'm a huge, huge Steve Jobs fan. So I was always influenced by him, how he did understand the technology, but he was more of a marketeer. And that's one reason too that I became a marketeer as my academia, where I became graduated from international business marketing. And I realized I wanted to study and understand this technology. It was very hard in those days, to be really honest, but finding and scrolling through different websites, I hopped onto one, and I decided I want to join them as a blockchain developer and learn how the whole blockchain ecosystem works. Flash forward in the bear market in 2018, we started introducing, and the market started shifting towards NFTs. So hopped onto that as well. Then we had the first metaverses following years, where we had Sandbox releasing, Decentraland, Sprinterlands, XC Infinity. Tons of new technologies and games and platforms started emerging in this Web3 space. And then I decided that, maybe this is something that I should pursue as a career, because it became from small interest back in 2013 all the way to 2019. In the last almost half a decade, 6 years, I realized that this has a lot of potential. And being an early Bitcoin maximalist, it allowed me to see that there was this hope that, at one day we're going to be seeing this being adopted internationally. So if there's somebody who's been in this since 2013, 2014, it was very hard back in those days to actually believe that, it would be a global sensation and people would actually adopt this technology. So that's what made me really interesting. Then I've worked on a lot of projects in the past. I've also co-founded NFT projects and protocols. And then I just realized that Cloud City Metaverse has a lot of potential, and I joined their team because the team was fascinating. What they were trying to do is something I have experienced myself, that a lot of projects that come out don't really have that immersive experience. So you get bored really, really quickly. It's very hard for those projects to kind of retain you. And all of that happens because you're kind of competing right now in gamify experiences on a PlayStation and an Xbox and a gaming rig, then mobile gamers. And then when you look into the Web3 games, they're so dry. They don't have that exciting part to it. So I realized this is something that I should, get an opportunity, hop on and work with this team and make this product as beautiful and execute all the pain points that we're trying to address. Because at the end of the day, this is something we're also at large addressing for the Web3 community. So being in this gaming studio made me realize that yes, there would be some time, like now, right now, I'm very hopeful that at some point, the same way in 2013 I used to believe that people will use Bitcoin, which people do today, I also believe that all the games coming in the future are going to be blockchain and NFT and crypto related, and they certainly find their way, because then that's something I believe is going to increase all the adoption in the Web3 industry.
Wow, so that's an interesting story that you have shared to us on how you got introduced into this space for the first time. Why did you pursue this until now and ended up being the chief marketing officer of the Cloud City Metaverse. And speaking of the Cloud City Metaverse, let's try to talk more about it, especially about its fun part, which is about playing the game. So my question for you is do we really need to buy at least one NFT to start playing the game, or is it accessible to all for those who are still trying to learn before they're going to purchase an NFT in the Cloud City meta?
So the launcher is free to download. There's no subscription based model as of yet. When we launch, that's not something that we plan to do, and it's free to play. You don't need an NFT or any kind of things to actually hop on the platform and play it. Maybe in the future we're gonna look into those aspects because a lot of games have that, but it's likely gonna be in-app purchases. So it's gonna be in-game purchases that we might be adding on to in the future. But we want to always be an open platform, so it's always gonna be free and accessible to all. You don't have to have certain conditions like NFTs or certain amount of crypto to actually hop onto the platform, because then yet again we're not addressing our pain point, that giving people high immersive, high quality graphics and very beautifully storytelling based gaming experiences, and that's something that lacks. We all understand that, so we won't succeed in our mission that way.
Wow, so that's great to hear from you, Omer, that we could actually experience this for the first time, even without these NFTs. We can explore the Cloud City meta. And just in case that we decided to buy some NFTs right there in the Cloud City meta, what sort of perks or benefits do we have?
We're already partners with a lot of protocols. So, for example, if you have a PFP based NFT that you've been holding on to, maybe it's an ape, maybe it's a lion, maybe it's a fancy bear, anything that you own. So, we allow users to kind of take their PFP art from 2D into 3D. So, it could also be your avatar space. Then, we also have different protocols that offer rental purposes on NFTs that we allow. And overall, there's no game yet in the market that allows you to have blockchain car vehicle or car modification. So that's something that we're executing, because it's something very hard to do, because it's a very personalized thing to do. Everybody like different cars, different kind of customization, but obviously when an NFT is customized, it also has a lot of issues on the back end. But that's something that we've already executed really well, and we're glad to kind of do that. And to just add, we're also working on the second game right now. It's gonna be an MMORPG game. So we expect the whole metaverse that we're kind of creating to have clans, maybe a left side, maybe a right side, team A, team B, and then they kind of dominate the whole metaverse space. That's the idea we want to work on, because a lot of games do that, and it works really, really well for them.
MMORPGs, I really love those kind of games. I was used to be an MMORPG player before I got introduced into the Web3 space. The last game that I remembered back then was the famous World of Warcraft, but it's just a private server and I've got maximum level or something like that. I really love those kinds of games, and I'm really looking forward to try out your upcoming MMORPG in Cloud City Meta. But if you don't mind, what is the name of that game?
It's hard to tell that now because it's
Oh.
still in the creation phase. But likely we're going to be introducing and sharing a lot more information about it as we start moving that in our pipelines. Once we start working on the development of things, then likely we're going to be making a lot of things public. And obviously, we want to show it out to everybody. So you're going to see a lot of immersive and engaging trailers and teasers also for that on our platforms.
Oh, I see. Okay, so let's look forward to that one. And of course, I see in your website that you have some land NFTs as well. Could you elaborate more about it, how it works in the Cloud City meta?
Yeah, so we have land NFTs. They're divided in different sections where we have commercial land, we have residential land, semi-commercial land, semi-residential land, and then we also have business enclaves. So this is how we have kind of divided the whole map upon. And this is to do because we have a lot of brands on board as well. They're going to be coming there. They're going to be having their virtual offices and their showrooms. We also work with education sector. So likely we're going to be having virtual universities and schools as well inside. And we have rental protocols that we we have worked out with. So you could kind of rent out an NFT that you already own to add utility into it. And above all, we have our own designers tool, a toolkit that's going to allow you to create infrastructure and also create environments inside to deploy that on your own land parcels. So we have our own designing tool that's inside our game itself. And if, let's assume, somebody doesn't have a land NFT, they could still use that designer tool and sell those experiences that they have created on the NFT marketplace.
Wow. So at least you've shared to us on how the land NFTs work right here in the Cloud City Meta. Okay. I've got this question in mind. I know that there are so many blockchains right now in this space, but I would like to ask you, Omer, which blockchain are you mainly using right now for Cloud City Meta? And why did you choose it?
So we chose Ethereum because I personally believe Ethereum is like the mother for all the other blockchains, all the layer ones and the layer twos and roll ups and even zero knowledge proofs are deployed on Ethereum and built on it. Yes, a lot of them created their own blockchains over the period of time, but that's like the mother. She's the one who gave everybody the birth and that opportunity, because Ethereum is the one that introduced smart contracts. So that's the reason we have chosen smart contracts. Just because of this reason, we went to Ethereum. But likely my personal favorite or is gonna be Polygon, because they have achieved a lot in this industry of late. And then my number two is gonna be Solana, because I'm a huge fan of what they've achieved. They've also introduced and kind of realized that there's a barrier in the Web3 industry, so they released the phone as well. They worked on the phone. Somebody's actually decided they want to tap into this aspect as well, and that was a big breakthrough. But my number one has to be Polygon at the moment.
All right. So that's really awesome for us to hear from you on which blockchain that you use. At least so we know it's Ethereum, and then you got like Polygon and Solana on the side. And also I've got this question in my mind as well. Could you share some of the most notable achievements that you guys have from the beginning until now, especially the partners that you have on board?
Yes, we have a lot of partners that we've done partnerships, from financial institutions to education institutes, health industry as well. And then we recently also got an award from the president of Pakistan for being the best Web3 company. We have that title to our badge. Where we call ourselves being the first Pakistan's metaverse blockchain-based gamified experience. And we've been very successful with all of that. We've raised funds, and mainly when we go out into the audiences, we are happy that the pain point that we're trying to address is something very notable. People do realize that there's a potential in the product that we're building, and it shows that what if we are successful in what we're trying to execute, likely this is going to bring a lot of adoption and understanding for all the other companies, protocols all around in the Web3 industry.
All right. So at least you've shared to us about some of those notable achievements that you guys have, especially the strategic partners that you have on board. But of course, aside from the achievements that you have mentioned, there are challenges as well that you are facing. If you don't mind, Omer, could you share some of those challenges that you and your team are facing these days and how you guys overcome them until now?
Mainly the challenges come from technical aspects. It's very hard to deploy and create things blockchain related on Unreal Engine, and also maintain the connectivity with the normal wallets like MetaMask and all of them. So there's a lot of challenges to all that ecosystem. But I strongly believe there'll be a point where hardware is going to be shifting. That's something I've learned in my 3 decades of life. You always see the software developing first, and then the hardware always catch up to that. So I expect that that's going to be happening really soon. Like I mentioned, Solana decided they want to build their own phone. That is for these reasons, because a lot of protocols, a lot of utility right now in the Web3 industry lacks adoption because the hardware doesn't support that. And that's also because of the big giants that kind of control the Web2 and a Web2.5 industry. They don't really want all the adoption right away jumping into the Web3 industry. And with the certain inflations all around the world right now, it's not cheap to kind of experiment with new gadgets and new products. So I do understand where the big companies are coming through as well. But likely now that we've seen that almost everybody globally uses 4G internet. Some countries also have already adopted the 5G technology. That shows that there's a lot of smartphone users out there. The people are way more tech savvy than they were in the 90s. So things are heading in the right direction. Maybe in the future, you never know, the mankind kind of becomes semi cyborg or something of that sort. But the hardware has to be there.
Okay, that's awesome for us to hear on how you guys have overcome those challenges, for Cloud City Meta. And of course, going back to the project again, how do you see Cloud City Meta in a few years from now?
I'm very bullish about what we've done, and I like to give that credit to the team members we've had. Obviously, our CEO, because it was his vision. He started as one man army, and then we have a massive team right now. We have partners all over the world, so it is something that we worked really hard to achieve. There were a lot of technically challenges that I just mentioned, but yet we strive forward, and we are very ambitious on the goals we've set for ourselves, and we expect, if we stick together and don't move out from our aims and ambitions, we're likely going to hit all the targets that we've set for ourselves. And I'm bullish because this is something I've seen in my decade experience in the Web3 industry, that this is something that lacks in the industry. We want to have immersive, high quality games. And personally, I believe, why not, right? This is something we deserve. The people who've been in the Web3 industry deserve to have high quality content as well. So I'm bullish on it. I am very excited for the product because literally we have just a Q4 left right now. We're already in Q3 for it to go public and people could download the build and play. So I have best wishes for my team because everybody's worked hard day and night, and likely we're going to be expecting a lot of users. We would wish that it becomes a very global product, and we also help and address the pain point that's the reason why we made this game. So that's something I hope, and fingers crossed, likely if we all stick together and we have support from YouTubers like you and all the community and everybody who's enthusiastic about all of this, to help us out, send out our messages, because the Web3 right now needs partnerships, collaborations. Everybody has to kind of work together to make sure it heads in the right direction.
All right, so at least you've shared to us on how do you see yourselves in a few years from now. So let's look forward to it. And speaking of the Web3 space, you see that we are in a kind of an uncertain situation. We had a lot of ups and downs lately, especially the fact that some play to earn games, I had to admit though, in my experience in dealing with and engaging with various play to earn Web3 games, they did not last long. So what is your assessment about this? Like, do you think these kinds of Web3 games have a future, and if yes, how?
I think the most important part that I always feel is gaming is very entertainment oriented. And if you look at games and movies and even YouTube videos or today's real culture, everything has to be very entertaining. And the only way it becomes that is you have to understand the storytelling. If you don't have a very good storytelling of your product, it will definitely get boring and it will have a very low retention rate. So storytelling is very, very important, whether it's advertising, movie, and games, because these are things people hop onto when they want to have some sort of an activity, when they want to do something besides the regular day in day out chores, right? So these are things they want to experience. So likely the most important part of it is storytelling, and I personally believe you can't just make a game for the sake because you want to make a game. It at least need to have a very good storytelling. There must be some kind of pain point that you're addressing in that niche, that game's niche. Maybe it's a racing game, maybe it's a sports game, maybe it's a fighting game, whatever it is, they must be addressing something. Otherwise it's very hard for people to relate to it. And in an era where all the social media and life is very dopamine related, it's very hard to have people's attention. So when you work on excellent storytelling, likely people are going to get hooked to that story, and then they're going to pursue the whole game, and they want to see what's coming next, because it's always about life nowadays, is always about what's coming next. So it's very hard to keep people excited, but if you have a very good storyline, likely you're going to be executing and be bringing a lot of people on board.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Entertainment comes first, when it comes to these games, because I had to like agree that these games are not meant for, to make a living, right? It's always meant for fun. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the play to earn term is kind of a wrong term for me.
Yes.
It should be like play and earn or play to own. You know, because here in the Philippines, Omer, Axie Infinity has started it all. It really conditions the mind of a lot of players, especially onboarding Web 2 players to get into this kind of game. And their mindset is like to earn, to sell some of these, and they don't have reason to buy it anymore, in which that would lead to the collapse of their own token. And it's like kind of a domino effect in all of the Web3 games that I have encountered. So I think this is one of the struggles that we have experienced in onboarding Web2 players into Web3, because they think of this Web3 games is like, it's only for earning money or something like that. It's not for fun, right? It's all about, changing the narrative. So do you agree on that?
Yes, I think games are an experience, and experiences have to be fun. I would only play a game it's fun, right? I am already in my 30s. I don't have time where I want to go on a game because just want to test it out or spend some time. It's more like I'm just going to play something which is fun because I want to get out of my comfort zone and get out of my day in, day out work, and just for a while, just have fun. Right. So the basic stuff that the game must have is fun. And I agree with you that I'm not a huge fan of play to earn. And that's something that we are not executing when it comes to the Cloud City metaverse. Because if you're going to have some kind of a rewarding system, then what happens is then there's no stake of having fun. And then if you're not having fun, then what's the point of having that game in the first place? So that's why I strongly believe the game experience has to be first. And if you want to have fun and you want to make it competitive, most games will always have leaderboards, a league based system, right? So you can execute that, and unfortunately not many have done that. It's more about how many xcs do you have, whether you have scholars under those xcs, how much SLP you're using on all of that. That's a very poorly designed game mechanics. All the games would always have a game mechanics. You have to have a very good storyline, a very good game mechanics, and that all, if both those things are very well, then comes the second phase. Are the graphics really good? Are the game really engaging? Because all of these fractions are going to make a very fun, engaging game, right? Because a game is something that I'm going to play, and then a friend of mine sitting right next to me or somebody abroad is going to be asking, hey, what are you doing these days? And I'll be like, hey, I'm playing this game, man. It's really fun. You should play too, right? And that's how we're going to be engaging with each other. Then I'm going to be having my friends coming onto that game. We're going to have our own team. So that has to be very, very important.
Yeah, it's all about having fun. But on the other side, there's some kind of a beauty here in the Web3 space that most of the uninformed and misinformed were not really aware of. And that is what we call the ownership, the 100% ownership of all the items that we have in the game. Even if it shuts down or if it's under maintenance, we still have 100% full control of the NFTs that we have, and it can be transferred from one wallet to the other without any restrictions or selling it in the marketplace. This is something that I am really bullish about Web3 games. It's something that most of them are not aware. They're just only focusing on the tokenomics, about the earning side, in the tokens, but they didn't realize that they could also earn, in the NFTs that they have bought, because they have 100% ownership. They can sell it in the third party marketplaces without any restrictions at all. I don't want to like compare to like some Web2 games in which they are prohibiting some players to sell their accounts, sell their items or something like that, or else they would get banned or something like that. I don't want to mention that game, because I already know that. I've already encountered it. So this is what I have seen in the Web3 games, and I'm so bullish of that, as well as you, Umer. And of course, speaking of the bullish and the bearish stuff, what are your thoughts right now in the current market situation? I know that we are some kind of, still in the bearish side. Um, What are your inside of it? When do you think the bull market would happen?
Usually, a lot of people experience their first bull market and bear market, so they have different sentiments. I've kind of seen it all from the early days. So for me, it's a very tested and tried policy now. Usually we have to kind of look into on-chain analysis. A lot of people do a lot of charting, a lot of trading tips, and different things that work out for them. Obviously there's no one right way, but personally I like to see on-chain analysis because that's very important. That's where the whole activity is happening. Personally, I believe the halving for Bitcoin is very important, and that is sometime next year in 2024, around April and March. In certain bull market, in certain bear markets, we have marked bottoms about 90 days, 40 days before, and sometimes we've done after the halving. So it always matters, but likely we're already somewhere in those zones. We're already going to be in Q4. It's going to be the end of 2023. So we're likely kind of very close to the bottom. Maybe we've already marked the bottom, but likely we're in those ranges now. And I'm gonna get very bullish early onwards in 2024. I think January, February, the market should kind of get into a better position. That's what the on change shows now. Obviously, the dynamics always vary and change, but that's the perception I have for now.
Oh, I see. So yes, I'm kind of very bullish on it long term. For Bitcoin, especially that the halving, which is somewhere mid of next year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for every halving, a Bitcoin has increased. I have witnessed, during the 2020 halving. After that, Bitcoin went insane. It goes up to as much as almost 70K,
Yeah.
70,000 USD. But I had to admit, a major part of it thanks to Elon.
Yes,
Yeah.
obviously the when the bigger names make a lot of noise, it has a ripple effect. So yes, certainly it does. But in my experience, I have a different mindset. I always believe there should be a technology that kind of solves a problem in the real world. It's great to have a ride on a meme coin or anything that just came out for fun. That's It's good to have fun too, right? You can't be serious all the time in these financial markets, but the technology behind everything must have some very strong utility and must be solving some problem that we have in this world. So when you look into the NFT bull market, there was all kind of art, just on different influencer marketing, celebrity marketing, that was doing really well. But when the bear market came, it hardly had any utility. So when the utility comes in, the technology matures itself, and then it kind of finds out in a new way. So like in this bear market, we had fractionalized NFTs, we had rented NFTs. We had so much utility added onto, and then there was so many projects that were just about just the 2D art concept, and then they decided they need to give something more. So some projects went into merchandising, some projects started making gamified experiences, some decided they want to have their own metaverses. So the utility started adding in. So it's very important for us to have a bull market and also a bear market, so we could learn from our mistakes.
Yes, I have to agree with you on that. Especially when it comes to the bear market, I have remembered from one of my colleagues last year. The best time to build is when things are going quiet. It's
Yes.
in the bear market before the big rain comes. And these Web3 projects that would solve the real world problems would really stand out in the long term. It's something that I am really looking forward to long term, Omer. All right. And of course, before we wrap this up, do you have some parting words for our amazing subscribers and viewers who are tuning into our podcast today?
Yes, definitely. Always believe on the things you are doing, because a lot of times we do things in other people's influence. Somebody told you this or somebody told you that, and then you decided you should try that too. That is good because that is acquiring information, but it's very important to dive deep, understand, learn, and then have your own perspective and believe in the things you do. Back in the days, I believed that one day Bitcoin will be everywhere. We will have cryptocurrencies, they will have utilities. I strongly believed in the early days, and today we have that ecosystem. The foundation is already laid. Now I strongly believe going forward that we're going to be having massive adoption coming when the hardware starts kicking in. We're going to live in a very different world in the near future, maybe 5 years to a decade. The whole world is going to change massively. So it's very important to believe in things. Also understand, don't keep too much expectations from things. Like I've seen a lot of my friends, when they came into the bull market, they thought they're going to buy a coin and they're going to get rich overnight. Maybe it works for somebody, and I'm really happy if it does, because it's everybody's right to actually make money and be in a better position in life. But just don't compare yourself. Everybody kind of have their own luck, and they have their own chances. Sometimes some people cash in on opportunities a lot better than the other person. And be determined. Make sure you know where you're heading in life. Have goals, and dream big, because people who dream big at some point reach somewhere along their dreams. So be passionate about what you do, because that is also very, very important. And especially in the industry we're in, Web3, it's very important to be passionate, because this allows no breaks. The markets never sleep. This 7 days a week, 24/7. Twitter is buzzing, charts are going up and down, NFTs are being bought and sold, new metaverses, gamified experiences, protocols, blockchain, 24/7, right? So this will never give you a break. So sometimes I would also encourage, at the end of the day, we're human, we need break. Get out of the markets, just relax yourself out, come back with a better energy, because it's going to increase your motivation to be here, and it's going to make you very ambitious and passionate about all that we have created. So passion is very important, and caution is always better than care. Always do your due diligence when you're looking into projects. That is very, very important. And make sure you enjoy what you're doing. That's the purpose of life.
All right. And also, one more thing. Where could we find you guys in the Cloud City Metaverse? Which socials are you in?
All right, so we're on Twitter. We have a LinkedIn. We also have a TikTok. We have a Discord channel. So mainly on our socials, you'll see a link tree. That link is gonna allow you to go anywhere you want to hop on to. We also have regular Medium articles. We have our own YouTube channel. So there are tons of platforms that you can find on. All you have to do is write the Cloud City Metaverse on Google, and you will be right at our doorstep.
All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest for today's episode of the Nomads podcast. We have Umer Mirza, the Chief Marketing Officer of Cloud City Metaverse. So once again, Umer, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure having this conversation with you. I wish you all the best, your platform, your subscribers. I hope everybody wins at the end of the day.
All right. And also, I would like to thank all of our subscribers and viewers who are tuning in to our podcast right now with Umer Mirza, the Chief Marketing Officer of the Cloud City Metaverse. So if you want more information about Cloud City Metaverse, so the links are just right here on my video description. So we would really appreciate your honest feedback regarding our podcast for today. So if you have any questions regarding the Cloud City Metaverse, so you can just simply reach out to Umer, and also in their official social media channels, and get in touch with the real admins and mods to potentially answer your queries, guys. And if you think that this podcast helps you a lot, kindly do not hesitate or think twice in sharing this to your friends out there, especially those who are so enthusiastic regarding Web3 games, Metaverse, NFTs, and so much more. So I do have a question for you. Did you enjoy tuning into our podcast today? Has this podcast helped you a lot and gives value in any way? And what do you think about it? Just let us know right here in the comment section. So once again, this is Nomad Fury, and I'll see you all on my next video. Thank you all for watching. Thank you.
Bye.